Alright, got a little welding project for you today. If you're on a farm or in a garage, you need a welder. At some point, you need to weld, so you gotta know a little bit about everything, I guess. But anyway, let me show you what we got going on here. So, this project, actually, if you look at this trailer, believe it or not, it didn't. Let me just tell you a little backstory on it. It started out life as a 4x8 tilt. It was damaged. A tree fell on it. A buddy of mine, he was like, "Yeah, you can have it." So, what was it? Probably 15 years ago now. The wife and I, Jennifer and me, took this out. You can see right here where it was a tilt. We welded the tilt up and we expanded it. These C channels were added in for stability. And this front gate, we built it from scratch. The idea is that this front gate, you drop a tailgate, pull these pins, this gate will fall on that tailgate and you can run a four-wheeler or lawnmower, whatever you want to run. We've used it for just loading stuff in a truck that's kind of heavy and cumbersome before. You can walk right up there, walk right up. I'll show you. Alright, I had to put the camera down. That's a little better visual of how this works. Now, the truck I had before was probably lower. Obviously, these trucks, this is a 2024. These things, as you all know, they get taller and taller, or I'm getting shorter and shorter. I don't know, but like, I can barely reach into the bed and get anything. My daughter, she just bought an 04 for her first truck, and it's like, whoa, I can reach right in the bed. I can get something out of the middle of the bed in that thing. It's so low. So anyway, that's what we had back then, and we mocked it all up and built it. But still, it's usable here, even on this newer one. So, you know, it's not heavy duty. You're not going to run a side-by-side up there or something that's super heavy. You know, I built it for a four-wheeler, you know, back in the early 2000s. So you could still run your four-wheeler right up in there. No big deal. Lawnmower. Pretty cool little concept what we did. We run, I got this bed liner in there I need to get rid of, but we run also, when we extended it, we run the C channel all the way down every, I think, 18 inches. We blew a hole, drilled a hole. But you can see here where we cut, and you cut here. That was the old angle iron. This is part of that stability deal, but we cut the angle here. Cut the 2x2 angle there, and this is all new. So this is where we stretched it to 14 foot. And guys, I'm telling you, there's a lot of, the axle's way back. I didn't move the axle at all on this trailer, but it makes it tow incredibly good. Anyway, it's 15 years old. Last year we brought it in, put new floorboards in it, and painted it for the first time. And then this year, put new LEDs and stuff. And then this year, I was running a golf cart. I got a golf cart set up with a sprayer that I used over at the lease property. And I was running it up and I heard a pow. And so what happened is, these hinges broke. Let me show you. They're just an old hinge. I mean, ain't nothing fancy. I should have used the bullet hinges, but again, 15 years ago, I don't know. We just used some old hinges. These aren't like door hinges. They're iron hinges. I picked some more up from Tractor Supply. These are actually a little bigger and heavier than what I got on there now. So we'll put those on. I tried to do a little tack, push it back up and tack weld the old hinge, and I'm just going to add these in the gaps, and it would just almost be hinged all the way across. But I believe that the gate's warped. Because I got it up there level, and it's got a little, I don't know if you can see that in the camera, it's bent a little bit. I mean, the old trailer's put the work in over the years, so that may be partially is what's happened too. That gate's got a little bent on one side and it's not closing steady. But anyway, here we are. Thought it was going to be a quick fix, might be a little more detailed. We're going to cut these completely off and put these new hinges on. They should be ready to roll. So thought I'd just bring you along with the ride. We're always building and fixing something. So We can try to get you guys in on it. And if you want to watch it, good. If you don't, that's fine too. Okay, so my next step is going to be to get this gate lined up and welded on the back of here. Now, it needs to be good and straight, not crooked, because if you're going up crooked or in a bind, that's going to put it in a bind and tear our hinges up. Like I think the reason these failed, number one, they're 15 years old, so they sit back there and they've gotten rust in them, you know. Probably should have oiled them every once in a while to help them survive. Anyway, long story short, because they were super thin when I actually welded and was going to add these, and they just have all these hinges, but there wasn't enough there to weld on. They were wore out. So anyway, also I think the trailer, I don't know if that bend right there may have got a little warped. Anyway, we need to make sure it shuts straight. All right, I've got, the way I set this thing up years ago is I welded a little tube, got a hole through it, the hole through here, so when that trailer comes, boom, boom, you pin it, trailer ramp secure, okay? Well, so I'm going to utilize that and help me level and hold this in place. Now I could crib it up with some jacks and jack stands, different things like that, but I think this is going to work better. Let me show you what I got figured out and we'll see how it goes. A couple things we'll run by. You may notice a lot more splatter than you like to see. I'm using a flux core wire, meaning I don't run gas in this one. I honestly like a welder on gas. I think it's a cleaner weld. I can get a lot prettier welds. I don't know that they're necessarily stronger, but that shielding gas and a solid wire, I feel like if you're welding some, if you're doing a lot of welding, I'd say get the gas. It's just a little more inconvenient for a hobby welder or a farmer, because the cool thing about this, I could throw that welder in the back of the truck with a generator and go weld something out in the field. So that's really handy. Obviously, are they the prettiest welds? Absolutely not. If I'm doing some exhaust work or anything like that, that's a little more seen or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying this is shortcut, and by no means. A lot of people weld with these. A lot of people use a stick welder, and that's fine too. This still welds a good solid weld. It's just not as pretty. Okay. So that's why you might see some of that. I'm not the greatest welder by no means, but I can weld cleaner than that. Now, the other question I may have is if somebody says, why don't you weld a bead all the way across back here? Well, the reason I didn't is because this being on this trailer, I come from where those hinges are and kind of give it a brace. But I also, it's raised because I didn't grind the other plate off, which is fine because you see me, I had to cut some of that wood partially because the old ones, they really got up and bonded on the back right there because it was so flat together. So I went ahead and I just said, you know what, instead of doing all that and grinding them back off flush and spending a bunch of time on that, I just come to the edge here. So I've actually welded through this, the plate, and the angle iron. So it's good and strong here. And then over here, I'm up on top of this, which is fine. I wanted to get a hinge in this beam right here where you're supporting your ride. I originally I'd welded it way out here and it was in this gap. So anyway, we went to a bigger hinge. We only went to 3, but I left these. All right, I got the gate on. Let me show you what I got going on here. For one, just a little tidbit, if you've seen that, guys, one of these little bitty jacks right here, I don't use it to jack up trucks or anything like that. You know, I might use that to jack up a small car or whatnot on one corner maybe, but guys, this thing is so handy. It's light, it's easy to use. It don't take just a little bit and it'll pump up, but anyway, it's cheap. It's a good second man. I put it over there, picked this side of the gate up so I'm not picking the whole weight up. Got my bolt in here, moved over there, jacked it up, lined it up. You know, it's like having a helper in the shop. Anyway, what I've got going on, let me show you what I got going on. In order to get my levels and everything right, what I want to do is I normally just pin this with a pin, you know, when you're operating a trailer. But I want to make sure this gate's level. I also want to leave a little gap here so, you know, I'm not coming up hitting that. We're going to tighten this gap up. I'm not going to get it real tight because I do want a little bit of movement in order to help me get that pin in a little easier. But the way I've got this set up, I can hold this with a wrench and just use a wing nut. I mean, you could use a regular nut. I just grabbed a wing nut, thought it might be easier to adjust by hand. And I'll adjust this and that side and get them right. Like I said before, I think this gate's bent. This is an older trailer. It's been used a lot. It may not be perfect square, but we're going to work to get it as good as we can. We want this gate to operate smooth for many years to come. So, but anyway, that's something I come up with. I thought might be handy for you guys if you're doing something similar to this. That right there is almost like an adjustment. And then you weld it up, pull it, make sure it works, and then you're just going to have pins in there, so it's going to have flex. You know, these trailers too, going down the road, they flex. You know, they're not, but you can see right there, I mean, they're just holding on them bolts. And I'll adjust it, get it where I want it, weld it up, protect it with some paint, and this job's done, guys.